So you have a biology degree. Now what? I am so excited for this episode. I was so excited for this month. I don't know if you realized, this month was So You Love Biology. I brought people from all over the industry. I got 3 guests. One with a bachelor's in biology, who's worked in biotech for 7 years. One who started with a bachelor's, then got her master's, and now is working in the CDMO and hoping to tap into the business market of the biotech. And then third, someone from all the way from Nepal. He got his bachelor's, got his master's, and now is a scientist too at Eli Lilly. And so when you jump into a biology degree, most people think, me especially, I either go to med school or I am a biology teacher. No shame for biology teachers. We need biology teachers. They're the reasons why we're here. But that's not true. There is life beyond med school. There is life beyond a biology degree. And time, I will probably die on that hill saying, you can have a career in biotech with a biology degree. In biotech, there are entire departments, and each one needs people with your background. Whether it's biology, chemistry, whatever it is, they need your background. So let's do this differently. I am gonna walk through sort of how a biotech company is structured, and I'm gonna do it together with you. I'm gonna walk through from the different career positions that you can have, from early discovery all the way to patients. Whether you have a bachelor's in biology, a master's in biology, and if you're watching this and you have a PhD, whatever I say is applied to you, but then the positioning naming is just different. Okay? Okay. I'm your friend in STEM, Mary, and welcome to When in STEM podcast. It's the podcast where we break down the world of STEM, we talk about the careers in STEM, and we just make it less intimidating. And we are wrapping up on this month's theme of So You Love Biology. I really hope at the end of this episode, you will know what positions to apply for, whether you have a bachelor's, master's, or PhD in biology. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the episode. Okay, I'm going to start off with research and development. It is where science begins. It is where you run pilot studies. It is where you have an idea and you want to make it work. It is where ideas turn into actual therapies. That's what R&D. It's research and development. So in the R&D big umbrella, you have something called discovery research. And this is even the very beginning. You're studying a disease, you're identifying targets, you're running early experiments. You are setting the tone to what the potential medicine or therapy is going to be. So when you're looking for roles, here's what they look like. For research associate or research associate 1, that's if you have a bachelor's, research associate 2, senior research associate, associate scientist, if you have a master's, lab technician, also if you have a bachelor's, and discovery scientist. If there's 1 or 2, that's whether you have master's with a little bit of experience or more of a PhD route. And so what are the skills you need for roles like this? You are looking at cell culture. Do you know how to culture HEC293s? PCR, have you run a PCR? Western blot, ELISA, all these fundamental skills you need to verify targets, to identify targets, to know. This is where most biology grads start, okay? You're a biology grad, this is where you start. So if you have these skills, this is where you look for. If you don't have these skills, but you're still in school, guess what? Try to get these skills. Try to go into the lab. Try to volunteer. Try to pick up these skills, whether it's in a lab class or trying to volunteer. Try to have these skills. Next up is cell biology and cell culture. This is a very big one. I love cell culture. I worked in the cell therapy department because all I wanted to do is work with cells. And I wanted to work also with the CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing. So with the cell culture position, you're maintaining cells. So think iPSCs, T cells, NK cells. These are all cells I worked on, actually. And what you do other than just cell culture, you're running functional assays. You're running flow cytometry to see if the markers are actually there or not. You also test how drugs affect cells. So all these play a role in that, I'm going to call it like quote-unquote departments. So some roles here, also the research associate still applies, but I'm going to be more specific, okay? So you can also look at research associate cell culture, but some things you can look at is cell culture associate, cell therapy research associate, cell therapy assay scientist. If you see associate, that's entry level with a number 1. Associate 2 or senior associate, that's if you have a master's. And anything scientist and above, that's if you have a PhD or you have the relevant experience. So in positions like this, the skills that you need are primary cell lines, immune assays, all these different flow cytometry, all these different techniques to help you get these roles. And then there's a group called assay development or the analytical team. So this is where you build the experiments everyone else uses. You're basically designing assays. You are designing panels for flow cytometry. You are optimizing it. You are making sure they're reproducible. You create a template for people to use. Some companies might have these teams. Some companies might not have these teams. It really depends on the size of the company. So you might see assay development in some companies, but the company you really want to work for might not have it. But it's okay. What do you look at? You look at assay development associate, assay development scientist, analytical research associate, analytical scientist, senior research associate. All of these, if you put the keywords as in assays or associate or assay development, these positions will start popping up on your feed. What I just mentioned are high-level positions or departments you can have. You can also go into like specialized R&D departments. You might have the immunology team. You might have the genomics team. You might have the protein science. Each company is different. The position names might be different. So what you do is you just use the research associate 1, research associate, senior research associate scientist format to be able to understand what kind of positions you're looking for. Because people might say, a company might put job posting like, oh, research associate. And then you're like, research associate for what? But then when you read the description, they will go more into details of what it is, whether it's an assay development or whatever we just talked about. After R&D, we have something called process and development. You are scaling the science here. You are turning it into something real. You want to see if the idea is going to work on a larger scale. You're taking that small scale lab work and scaling it up. That's what you're doing here. So if people were working in T25s, you're probably working on T175, if not even bigger. You might be even working on bioreactors. You're trying to improve yields. You're improving consistency. Everything is just huge, okay? If that's what you want to think about it. And some roles to look at is process development associate. You can have process development associate 1, associate 2, upstream scientist, downstream scientist, upstream research associate, downstream research associate. All of these fall under that category. If you see in the description like scale up or bioreactors, now you know what you're looking at. Next up is CMC. CMC stands for Chemistry, Manufacturing, and Controls. This is where science meets regulation and production. What you do is you're making sure that the product is consistent, safe, ready for approval from the FDA. Depending on what positions you're in, you have to be documenting. You are deciding how the drug is truly made. It's just so many parameters play when you're in CMC. So some of the roles, other than the research associate ones, just the word research associate, you could look at CMC associate, and then there's MSAT, technical operations associate. This is where you get closer to a real product impact because you're closer to getting an IND, you're closer to replicating, you're closer to making it consistent. That's where you are beyond research now. You are trying to build something that will work in manufacturing. That's what you do. Next up is manufacturing. This is where the therapy is actually made. So with this, you're in clean rooms, you're following strict protocols, everything is standardized. You're not going and trying to fix parameters or try to fix a problem or try to create something. You are there to just run the standardized protocol that you have. And fun fact, I've interviewed a lot of people who started at manufacturing because they had zero experience. And with manufacturing roles, you don't really need a lot of experience. And some of the roles to look at as manufacturing associates, GMP technician, manufacturing associate. This is the perfect place to start if you do not have any experience. It will give you that experience you need. And then for all these people that I interviewed who started at manufacturing, they did a year of contract work, because mostly it's contract work. And then after that, they dived into the research and development of what they truly wanted to do. So sometimes you just have to think differently or apply to jobs that you never expected to have to be able to get your foot into the door. Next up is quality. You have QA and QC. So for quality control, you're testing the product. So we go through R&D, PD, CMC, QC. You're testing the product. You're running assays. You're checking the purity, and you're checking the sterility of the product. That's a very, very important role. And so if that's something you're interested in, some of the roles you could look at is quality control associate, quality control analyst, quality control scientist, QC for sure. And then from QC, you could do QA, which is quality assurance. Here's where you're literally reviewing everything. Everything. You're looking at documentation, processes, compliance, everything and anything to make sure that this product is pretty legit. So if you're interested in QA, you could look at QA specialist, QA associate. So this is for the people who are like super detailed oriented. This will probably be your lane to get in. The next step is for people who don't want to be in the lab. So regulatory affairs. Regulatory affairs is how the drugs get approved. Obviously, you're not in the lab, so you're writing documents for the FDA. You're making sure everything meets regulation. Some of the roles may include regulatory affairs associate, regulatory specialist. These are from the LinkedIn searches that I've done. These regulatory affairs don't really have lab-based jobs. They're mostly like focused on strategy and writing and knowing the FDA guidelines and just knowing the rules and regulations. And so it's a lot of reading and a lot of knowing guidelines and rules and knowing how to file things. Next up is clinical research. This is where your drug meets patients. This is where the clinical trials term happens. So you're managing clinical trials. You are tracking the patient's data, and you are coordinating sites. So you're in the ground, you're on the ground of a clinical trial. Some of the roles, I'm just going to say entry-level role is clinical research assistant. But if you have a little bit more experience in that area, you can look for clinical research assistant. This is where you can get real patient impact without going to med school. So this is for my bioinformatics people. I truly believe that every company needs a bioinformatics person. This is where you're analyzing data, you're looking at off targets, you're working with code, you're supporting discoveries. You are on your laptop decoding the genome, literally. And some roles you could look at is Bioinformatics 1, Bioinformatics analyst, computational biologist, biostatistician, bioinformatics research associate, like all these positions are out there. As long as you use the word bioinformatics, I'm sure job posts will pop up. And if you know how to code and you love to code, this is something you could take a look at. I hope you learned a little bit of what can you do out there. So there are a lot of untraditional paths like sales, marketing, business development. These are going to be under a different theme, but the whole point of this is that you don't need a perfect degree. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to start somewhere. You just need to start. Because once you start, you'll start exposing yourself to this beautiful world and you'll start seeing what you like, what you want to do. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go from manufacturing to research? Then you're in research. You're like, honestly, I want to look at more on the process development side. You can go, you can jump, you can do these things. You just need to start. So after this episode, I want you to go to LinkedIn and search research associate, QC analyst, regulatory affairs associate, clinical research assistant, clinical research, search something. And now it has an AI tool that you could use the skills that you have and it will find the jobs that you're looking for, or that will find the jobs that match your skill set. After you do that, pick 3 jobs you like, read their job descriptions, and figure out if that's the path that you want to walk down. I hope you learned the different maybe positions you could search on LinkedIn. I hope maybe after this you could fix your resume and start applying. I hope that's one thing I hope you learn. Something else I hope you learn from my whole platform is your degree is not a limitation. Okay, it's not. But not knowing your option is the limitation. And that's what we all struggle, because we thought with a biology degree we can only go into med school. No. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Send it to a friend, share it with someone, and let me know if you did apply to a job because of this. See you in the next episode.